What lurks below? A question we professors have attempted to answer for years, while simultaneously being a question that haunts people's dreams and gives an uneasy sense of dread to those who find themselves alone in deep water. Thankfully, here in the world of Pokémon, we have these wonderful creatures filling the seas around us, providing companionship, protection, and even a warning of anything that is approaching. But what happens when those Pokémon are gone? Alone at sea, in silence, the water still and unmoving, we live in a world where water-type Pokémon are the most abundant on the planet. What the hell has made it so they're no longer around? A natural disaster? Disease? Lack of food? Pollution? Or better yet, a monster? Well, better for me. Not so much for the research subjects. I mean, poor souls who find themselves alone in the Paldean Sea. We've all heard tales of sea monsters that have lured sailors to their deaths, torn ships to shreds, and made entire armadas disappear into the depths. Many of these tales have become nothing more than historical stories, as the advancement of technology and the partnerships with Pokémon have made these accidents less commonplace, with explanations being provided for the previous loss of life. Sexy sirens luring people to their death being nothing more than drunken sailors mistaking a distant primarina for a human, with their beautiful song inadvertently leading them into crashing into rocks. Holes punched into ships, a simply angered Sharpedo. Lifeless corpses of hundreds of fish simply being the victim of a school of Gorbis. Sudden and mysterious fires being the result of wooden ships filled with booze, encountering the sparks of a Chinchou. Giant octopus dragging ships into the ocean floor were led simply by dim-witted captains who sailed straight over raid dens containing Dynamax auxiliary. It's all very simple stuff. Except for those tales we can't explain. They make no logical sense. It's not a sea monster we know or have identified as a Pokémon we can tame. We write them off as nothing but tales. And that's all that they are. Right? We all know better than that. There's no smoke without fire. Yet pretending gives us this fake sense of security when we look out across the pond, and it lets us sleep with our children and husbands out on boats in the dead of night, making a living and catching tomorrow's meals. Even with the monsters down below, we feel safe with the devils we know. While these beasts remain in the deep, rarely encountering mankind, there's no harm in pretending, but I fear one of those unknown beasts will be encountered by us very, very soon. Over the last year, we have been getting brief insights into the previously recluse Paldean region, the new Pokémon, the freedom that institutes preparing the next generation of children for the world of Pokémon, and the incredibly hot I meant weather. What's not to love? It's almost too good to be true. I mean, come on. Lechonk? Who even thinks of that? Admittedly, it might be a little too good to be true. We've all seen adverts before, brochures and shows highlighting their very best, while quietly sweeping the dark underbelly of a region under a rug. I mean, come on. Every region in this world has a criminal organisation, and you're telling me Paldean doesn't? Yeah, right. The professors alone look sketchy enough with their dark eyes, secretive nature, tall, dark, beautiful bodies with gorgeous hair. Oh, what I would do to them. Like calling the police for their heinous crimes. Like every good advertisement, they're even shown of some things we're familiar with to help us relate to this new region and their customs. This once segregated region has done an incredible job of integrating itself with the rest of the world prior to finally opening its borders to us all later this year. Although the question still remains, why has it been cut off for so long? It's an explanation we'll get with time. My bet is it's going to be politics. It's always bloody politics. Or maybe, just maybe, something in the water has contributed to this. Rather than the nation not accepting the wider world has not been accepting of their monster. Or, that monster has stopped boats coming to Paldean. Thank Arceus for planes. What has brought me to this conclusion, you may ask? The answer is Wooper. One of the recent promos for the new region has advertised Wooper to us all. But not just any old Wooper. This is Paldean Wooper. This Wooper varies greatly from the dim-witted blue version we accompanied to. While it appears its happy demeanour remains, its physical body has drastically changed. The Pokémon lives on land rather than cool waters, which likely contribute to it losing its water typing in favour of a poison type. Its gills have dried out, a new pattern is present on its abdomen, and it has a brown colouring. How does any of this have anything to do with a monster? Well, let's start by looking at its biology, which, to be honest, really doesn't suit a land-living Pokémon. Its body still needs to remain moist in order to survive on land, which it manages by coating its body in a poisonous film. Not exactly a great start, suggesting that the Pokémon is a land-dwelling creature when it has to spend hours every day applying a poisonous coat to simply survive. Surely, living on land has its benefits, though, hence why it uses the coating. Not really, as this technique is used by regular Wooper as well, whenever it comes onto land. However, it's not permanent. The film actually appears to have a negative impact on the Pokémon, as Paldean Wooper is noticeably slower, with the poison seeping into their bodies due to the continued use and the many layers adding extra weight. The film has made it difficult for the Pokémon to hunt or escape battle, and instead has to solely rely on the burning effect of their poison to deter predators. The second biological feature are the gills of the Pokémon that have since dried out due to living on land. These gills now resemble two bones. Tell me, does part of your body drying out sound like a pleasant experience? Yeah, not really, especially when these appendages drying up has in essence landlocked the Pokémon, as they don't seem like they can recover to their previous state, preventing them from ever being capable of living in water again. This form of Wooper has took advantage of the gill's sudden irrelevancy by using them as a way to distribute the poison that now infects their body, something which has likely killed off that last tiny chance of the organ ever fulfilling its intended purpose ever again. From these adaptations in the Paldean form, we can see that the Pokémon appears to actually be at a disadvantage, actively harming itself and potentially in a lot of pain, if the poison hasn't already destroyed their nervous system. The adaptations also seem pretty makeshift, with its body needing to remain moist and features such as the gills still remaining despite them serving no real purpose. It's almost like a series of adaptations that seem forced rather than something that has willingly come about. That's because it is. The information has been hidden away on the website beyond the promos most people see. But this Pokémon did once live in the sea. I mean, no shit, Sherlock. Anyone who did biology could tell you that. However, the Pokémon lost the battle for territory, and as such was forced to live on land. Now Wooper is a docile creature, and even this variant only attacks when threatened, meaning whatever it fought is a creature that invaded its territory or decided to attack Wooper. This isn't even a scenario where Wooper was hunted for food. Whatever this opposition Pokemon is, it's targeting Wooper and simply wants to hurt it. Wooper not only lost their territory, but was seemingly stalked by the creature, preventing them from living in any body of water around the Paldean region, and forced it onto land. That alone is a horrifying enough discovery. But how far did this Pokemon go? You have to keep in mind, this version of Wooper has decided to actively poison and destroy parts of its body, as this is preferential to the horrors this water monster performed on them. Now whatever this terror is, it will soon become known to us when we go to Paldean, and I can safely say that Wooper isn't the only creature that has become a target to this beast. Let's just hope Trainer isn't on the menu. So trainers, what do you think you'll encounter in the seas of Paldean? Is it just a Sharpedo with a taste for Wooper? Is Paldean the mysterious region that Crawdont originated from, with a vicious clawed creature hunting the shores? Or is it something else? Something much worse. Whatever it is, it appears to be a powerful Pokemon for anyone to have in their party. But is it worth the risk of trying to find one before it finds you? The main takeaway for a researcher like myself is, it's a shame that the original form of Paldean Wooper is now extinct, as its extra set of gills and unique pattern suggest even before it was forced onto land, it varied from the Pokemon that calls the waters of Johto its home. Still, a Pokemon learning to live on land, despite suffering and a horrifying creature lurking just below the surface, are two things that have definitely got my attention, and are much better use of my time than counting the gills on a Pokemon's head.